your mouth, better add your respect. Otherwise, pressure gon' be at your neck, run up on you like. This ain't a game, my aim is to throw. I'm much higher than you, like a rocket, a drone. I'm powerful, think of a stone, throw it off of my brain and I'm back to the bone.
Welcome back to the KDL 2023. I'm Wolf still. I'm still with State. And we're moving straight into our second series of the evening. Desperado coming out first here. I'd say big underdogs going into this series. But, you know, going into today, I thought this one would likely be our more competitive of the two. Our first one went the distance on item and went the distance to the ace match. So who knows how deep this one's going to go.
I gotta say, man, Desperado has been, so far here in the regular season, my favorite team to watch. Not because I think they're racing better than everybody else or they have some really crazy tricks up their sleeve, but Ghost as a runner is actually so good individually in terms of skill. He is so talented in speed mode, and Desperado have such an interesting meta that they're playing right now where they're not winning in speed. I think they've only won once so far this entire season in terms of sets, excuse me. But they are undefeated in item because Banana, their ace, has been so clutch. And it kind of reminds me a little bit of Esports from KDL Preseason 1 and Preseason 2, but here they're going up against some Titans, MIRAENSEJONG, which I believe is like the future, and also Sejong's like the past. Sejong, one of the most legendary kings of Korea.
It's such an interesting team, too, because it's one of the first super teams in kart rider history. You know, DF Blade was considered a super team at the end. Obviously, Live Sandbox and formerly Sandbox Gaming became a super team because of their reputation, but they weren't built as one. But this team is just the best free agents you could put on a roster, basically. And so, as a result, it's arguably next to Kwangdong and Live Sandbox the most popular team. And if they win this season, our first KDL season, there's a chance they become the most popular team. Desperado, I think, is on the opposite end of things. It's a bunch of players you kind of know. They have some experience. Not all of them are veterans, but they're players you kind of want to root for. We had Ghost, obviously, on a tough team last year. Had that ace match win, the super controversial one against Kwangdong Freaks. Banana, everybody loves Banana. Okay, Free Sky coming in as well. You know this team is one that people want to cheer for.
Wow, and they are looking to be in the top 3 with a victory here. Desperado right now sitting right behind MIRAENSEJONG. If you're wondering, MIRAENSEJONG in that rank 3 spot, Desperado down in 4th. As it's really just the round differential that's proving to be the difference between these two teams. And Desperado, if they're able to take down MIRAENSEJONG, I feel like MIRAENSEJONG is almost guaranteed to win in speed because they are so stacked in that way. But the fact that Desperado behind the leadership of Banana has been so good in item mode makes me think that we are almost guaranteed to see an ace match. I know I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but you wanted to talk about this quote, right?
The quote that they have here at the top left is a huge meme in Korea right now, and it's a lot of controversy. I'm not going to get deep into what it means, but it's a very huge meme. I like that they're going into it, but they're saying that they got hero, so it's going to be a win. Let's go home ASAP. Karte, the term there that they use, is basically getting off work as fast as possible, and that's what they're looking to do tonight. I think they're coming into this match very favored and also very confident, as they should be.
Yeah, they're all smiles right now on stage, but you do not want to underestimate Team Desperado. You might be favored against them here in speed mode, but once it comes in item mode, Banana has that galaxy brain, the big banana brain, and he's been able to lead Desperado to victory after victory. As we look at the speed track list,
Sejong having speed priority here. Going to Handy Harbor. That is a rare track, very often banned, and they're starting on it. So throwing a curveball, even though they're the favorites here, Miami Drive, speaking of curveballs, will be the second track. Then we go to Glacier Extreme Stadium, more classic. Mexico Touring Rally, obviously a newer track, but a one-lapper. And then Terracotta Twister is our final track. We're just not seeing a whole lot of Terracotta Twister. Guess we got to go to ace matches for that one.
Yeah, I'm a little bit sad about that, man. Terracotta Twister has always been one of my favorite speed tracks, especially in team mode speeds as opposed to solo mode speed. But instead, we're going to be going to Village Handy Harbor to kick off this series between MIRAENSEJONG and Team Desperado. And off we go on the Handy Harbor. MIRAENSEJONG, big favorites to win here over Team Desperado and Team Speed, as Wolf was saying, leading into this one. Kind of a super team, but look at the start that Desperado has with Promise and Striker so close to pole position. This is a great start.
Now this track, things can change very quickly because it is what I like to call Hairpin Harbor, because it's basically just hairpin turns the entire time.
Oh, that's good.
And,
Oh,
Hojun,
no!
that is not what you want. That is not what you want. Bit of a mistake there. It's a tight space, but just going straight to the wall, that's going to cost him a ton of time.
What?
All right, what is going on?
I feel like we're watching.
I said it was going to be high level, Stan. I said this one was going to be high level.
I feel like we're watching like Promise, like playing like a gamepad or something, and the controller just got disconnected for a moment there as he turned into the wall.
I mean, if we saw a pause, I would not be shocked. But I mean, I don't think that's what's actually going on. But that was so bizarre that it almost felt like that's something disconnected there. Striker holding first place right now, but they are outnumbered here. So we are going to have to see Ghost really move through these middle ranks here if we're going to see a win for Desperado.
Oh my
I caster
goodness.
cursed him.
Yeah, this
looks doomed now.
All right, well, MIRAENSEJONG looking pretty good here in lap number 3. I have to say they have almost the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is only Striker is able to hold a candle, but this one is
1, 2, 3, 4 possible.
I mean, I would love to hype this up, fellas, but you gotta you gotta know when to call it there.
I mean, even with Hojun making that mistake, he still ends up finishing top 3 here. Now, you could see why this track is banned so often, because it is basically taking the difficulty level of taking the best lines possible in a pro match with 8 racers and turning it to 11 because of this non-stop hairpin. There are shortcuts within the hairpin. It's an extremely difficult track. We saw a lot of errors there, more than you normally see between levels, the level of play we have with these top KDL teams there, but you know, more mistakes made for Desperado and good recovery from Hojun. It ends up being a stomp here in this first track.
Yeah, I wonder actually if this is part of the strategy here for Team MIRAENSEJONG coming in, is to pick this map that plays very differently from other tracks that we have here in KDL Team Speed mode, and that you're almost pretty much guaranteed to run into some errors like that, because for Team Desperado, losing in that fashion, even though MIRAENSEJONG did make some mistakes as we saw Hojun get clipped on the wall, it is not a confidence booster. In fact, the wind is completely out of the sails. If Desperado was a sailing ship, man, they would need to get towed back to the harbor, but instead we're going to get a World Tour Miami Drive. We'll see if they can regain their confidence and come back.
MSJ leading 1-0 here as we move into Miami Drive. This track very unique. We talked about it a lot already here in KDL 2023, in that you've got to take these boosters to get the maximum amount of speed, but sometimes you want to avoid taking one to make sure you can still get the most efficient build of your drift. And also, if you go too fast, obviously it takes some turns quite difficult, but so far, everyone taking the standard lines here. Nock and Hojun occupying first and second.
Yeah, Nock's doing a really good job here, and Hojun just kind of zoning everybody out, but he's got his work cut out for him. Desperado has about as strong a midfield as you could possibly imagine, with Striker, Ghost, Promise, and Free Sky, at least for a moment, all in the top 6. As Guard and Hero were lagging behind for Team MSJ, hopefully focusing on boost gauge, because right now it seems like 1-2 is really the only win condition that MIRAENSEJONG has.
All right, Nock and Hojun struggling to hold on to these positions. Hojun taking a really tight line there and will actually lose control. Ghost passes him. So right now, Desperado in the lead here currently. They have that 2-3-4 win condition. Someone is going to have to crack this midfield you were talking about, as Nock won't last forever 1v3 up here.
Yeah, and for Promise right now in position number 8, although he's not on screen, I imagine that he is just taking the most gauge-efficient lines as possible to get that blue boost up here for his teammates as quickly as possible. Of course, that team gauge is so important as Desperado is looking to try and get the high place 1-2 finish here against MIRAENSEJONG. Now Nock is still in first place, but Ghost on that inner line should be able to pass him. FreeSky as well, very close. And now Hojin actually able to draft in, and he has double blue boost.
Okay, they got 1-2 in the blue boost, as you mentioned here. This is going to be so close here. Right now, Hojin on the heels of FreeSky. They're actually trying to take his speed down. Ghost cutting through, however. This is going to be so close, 500 meters to go.
Yeah, Ghost works his way back into first place. Desperado is barely ahead right now, unless Hojin or Nock can work their way into first, and Nock barely with the inner line gets first place. I can't believe it. They get the 1-4-5, a 1-point difference. And if Nock wasn't able to take that line and basically cut off the opposition and cross the finish line, like, I mean, that was like, what, a 10th or a 100th of a second faster.
That was one of the closest speed races I have ever seen.
Yeah, that was insane.
That was insane indeed. And the 1-4-5 is also such a rare win condition. You almost never see this because it's usually a domination you have that leads to, you know, something like a 2-3-4, or you have that 1-2. But in this case, they actually just had exactly enough points and did not have control of the pack. It was Nock who was able to just barely push his way through, outnumbered, to set it up. And if you're Desperado, you're really hurting after this loss because you had so much control.
Yeah, I feel, although Desperado looked a lot better in track number 2 than in track number 1, the fact that they weren't able to convert such a strong midfield into a win condition has me very concerned for their chances here as we get ready to go into track number 3. It's going to be one of the more technical tracks. Glacier Extreme Stadium. Are MIRAENSEJONG going to sweep this thing? Once again, we go to the ice map here. MSJ just one track went away from sweeping in speed mode, and although I think most fans were expecting a result like this, like a 3-0 or 3-1 win for MIRAENSEJONG, it's been pretty close in track number 2, and you know, right now for them, Guard and Nock off to a very good start. Promise and FreeSky are trying their best to break up into the mid-ranks, but for Desperado, having your best runners, Striker and Ghost, in the bottom positions, it's a very concerning beginning for them.
It definitely is, especially the gap that Ghost has, because Ghost needs to be challenging up tier players like Nock, players like Guard when we get to these hairpins. Now he'll still have an opportunity if he could recover here. You can see he's caught up quite nicely because he doesn't have anyone to deal with when he's taking these inners, but Nock and Guard now battling FreeSky and Promise here. Good inner line there, but still Promise needs to break through. He will actually just barely get past those two MIRAENSEJONG players and maintain that spot. And right now, it's a very close race still here. I think it's all going to come down to that final hairpin, as Ghost has actually moved all the way up to 5th place now. Good recovery.
I think you're absolutely right about that. I'm just focused in on this next hairpin as Nock and FreeSky continue to battle for first place. Guard tried his best to do some sweeping. Guard is historically one of the best sweepers that we have here in KDL when he decides to play that role, but so far FreeSky and Striker have been able to work their way past him, and actually FreeSky winning the body fight there against Nock. He's in first place.
Promise falling behind, though. He and Ghost are battling with Guard right now. That's actually really huge for the points, actually the final back standings here, as here comes that hairpin. Let's see if Nock can actually steal that first place away from FreeSky. Wow. FreeSky, great turns there, is now blocking him against the wall. Nock, not a lot of opportunities. He's going to have to use that blue nitro if he wants to get past.
Yeah, Nock, if he gets the first place position here, I think it's a guaranteed win for MSJ, but still they have enough points at the board that even though he wasn't able to get first rank, the 2-3-5-6 coming through, and it's going to be a sweep here for the favorites in speed mode. But I mean, we were talking about this from the very beginning, Wolf. If Desperado is going to win, their win condition is not here in team speed. It is very hard to go up against a team with an all-star caliber lineup like MIRAENSEJONG in team speed mode. And now we're going to have the item aces swapping in. And once once Banana gets on the board here for Team Desperado, I feel like really anything can happen because as it is right now, I have the stat sheet in front of me, we have only one team with a greater than 60% win rate in rounds in item mode, and it's Desperado, and they're almost at 70%. It's 69.2.
Yeah, and I mean, MSJ is sitting at sub 60. Now, again, difference in strength of schedule and all that, this is something we have to consider, but consider this more than anything else. MSJ does not have a dedicated item ace. They're a 4-man roster. They've made the super team, right? And I guess that didn't allow for one more player to be on this roster. They wanted this squad only. And your ability to speed race obviously is going to take you some of the distance in item mode, right? Your actual driving ability. But item mode, having that item ace and a strong shot caller can be really a decisive way to get an edge over some of these stronger teams. That's why a lot of the weaker teams, when they win coin toss, do prioritize item, as Desperado has here. We're going to Forest Misty Falls first. Again, a lot of rare tracks tonight. You know, it's not like this one is one we never see, but it is definitely rarer than ones that are banned away, like Mine Motherlode and Magma Cavern here. So Desperado taking away both mine tracks here. Graveyard Cemetery Circuit can be quite wild. And then we have Cogwheel Crush and Lund Knight. So the latter half of this set of tracks is going to be pretty interesting. And we might see some of those timings we were talking about in the previous set.
Yeah, we just might. Coming in, I really am surprised that we're seeing Misty Falls here as track number 1, as you said, especially here in the regular season. One of the rarer picks, but maybe Desperado has some tricks up their sleeves. Let's see what Banana has in store for us as we get ready to kick off item mode between these two squads.
Off we go. Love to see the balloons. Some Halloween themed, some not so much.
Sorry to start giggling there, but
It's okay.
I saw the fire engine car that one of these racers is rolling. I didn't see who it was, but somebody's rolling with a fire engine and right off the finish line. I'm like, man, he already has a siren set up. He's gonna start sweeping from the very beginning. As we get started here,
it's a 2-star track, State. It's a 2-star track.
That's why he picked a fire truck. He can smuggle it in. We're gonna have the admins have to rule against him on this one. Sorry, my mind wanders sometimes here in item mode.
It's all right. So just to contextualize this for everyone who's tuning in late, MIRAENSEJONG did win Speed 3-0. Desperado, though, the stronger item team on paper, and they have chosen this track of Misty Falls, which is quite a rare one. Doesn't have a lot of architecture that affects the race. It's a wider track, but not as wide as like Shark's Wake, for example. It's really just a tempo-based, spam those items, get ahead, try to then finish on that third lap with some strategy.
Yeah, and for Team Desperado, I think one of the key parts of their success, which I'm not sure we actually had these stats come on screen leading into this match, is how rapidly they like to cycle through items. I think Team Desperado, more than any other team, will do exactly what Striker did and just guarantee that when they're going through sections like this, they're not picking up one item, they're picking up two.
Yeah,
and even if it's a low priority thing, like say you just got like an extra rocket or a shield or something, you just cycle it through because, you know, the more rolls you get, the better your odds of getting the like whatever the best loot it is on the track. You know, whether you're playing for a wombo combo setup in the end or whether you want to get a bunch of thunderbolts, whatever it is, Desperado, they are rolling the dice more than anybody else, and it's been a winning formula. But here in lap number 3, that water balloon to a free sky, a very good start. He does have one more in the bag, but the lead here for Knock and Guard, it's starting to grow pretty substantially.
If you only have one person this far ahead, it can sometimes backfire, but when you have two ahead like this, it's pretty massive. He's got an EMP now as well, so there's no UFO to stop him, shield to block this. He doesn't care. That's an easy win, so far ahead. And yeah, you cycle through a lot of items, but you didn't come up with anything that can get those top 2 front runners that are just so far ahead of the pack. And it's a 1-2-3 finish as well. And 2 of MIRAENSEJONG's players, Knock and Guard, were massively ahead. When you look at the times that are about to show up here in just a second, you're going to see just how wide that gap really was.
And I'm actually wondering what really went wrong there for Team Desperado after having picked Misty Falls as their first track, because it seemed like they didn't really have the best game plan. And you see right there, pretty much everybody on the team had 20+ items, but they really weren't able to manifest anything with that. Now, I'm still not very concerned for Team Desperado. I think they have a very good shot at bringing this one back from a 1-0 deficit in this best of 5 in item mode, but it's going to have to be a little bit better than that. Letting one player run away with it, that oftentimes will happen at least once in a best of 5 if you play 4 or 5 tracks, but having 2, it's a little bit concerning, Wolf, so we'll see if Desperado can keep up the same storyline they have all season with their success in item mode, and see if they can fight back here on track number 2, Forest Mushroom Caves. Another 2-star difficulty track here in item mode as we get started. MIRAENSEJONG with a nice victory there in the opening track. I mean, just able to play to the tempo advantage so well with 2 racers, something we really don't see that often. Oh my god!
Big bomb. Hit some of his teammates, but he wanted to grab 2 extra items there, so just tossed it out. Pretty high value, but unfortunately for him, not able to catch the front runner, so Promise has a decent lead. And, you know, on tracks like this and the last one, it's a lot of items just being tossed out in the first few laps. In this case, it's only 2, so first lap. But it's the playstyle you were talking about for Desperado. They like to use their items immediately. They want to play these types of tracks where they can just constantly cycle. Didn't work out for them the last time. So far, working out a lot better this time around.
Yeah, if you want to play the kind of roulette game that is item mode and do it well, you got to give yourself as many chances as possible, and that means getting all of the items you possibly can. As Promise, I think, in total on this team leads the charge. He's getting more than 20 items per track, which is absolutely insane. But Anna's right up there with him, 2nd place overall in item pickup. And as a result, for Team Desperado this time, they've been able to come through with a lot of attacks. They've slowed down the machine of MIRAENSEJONG, who has not been able to get any tempo advantage. And despite the fact that they are very high in the ranks, which you might think they spent a lot of items, so their inventories are going to be barren. No, Striker right now, he is double nitrous.
Yeah.
And he's consistently in top 4.
Now, he's the one who's going to have to make that run here in this final lap. He's really avoided a lot of aggro here by staying behind MIRAENSEJONG's players, because if you're in front of them, you're going to get hit. But if you stay behind and hold those nitros and you stay close with them, that's where you can hit that timing. Here comes the first one. 400 meters to go. Going to see if he can grab a shield. He got one. Drops the second nitro, but he's getting magneted.
Yeah, that magnet actually is going to be huge. Guardy!
Oh my god, he actually did it.
I thought, when they crossed the finish line, I actually thought that Desperado picked up that win, but
Shield not going to cut it against the magnet. I mean, that was a really nice timing there for Striker. I mean, the whole race came down to, for Striker, I've got 2 nitros. I hope I pick up a shield. I can block anyone who hits me. Toss the second nitro out pretty quickly there so that he could build the distance he needed, block at least 1 item, and then cross the finish line. And it looked golden.
Look how close that is.
0.07. And
wow.
Unfortunately for him, the magnet was just too strong. Guard hits it at the last possible second, and we've been seeing so many close races here in item mode.
Not 0.07, by the way, 0.007.
Yeah.
That's like, is that like 1 game tick? I actually don't know. That's insane. I was so convinced that Desperado with a double nitro setup right there.
It's like a 4th of a hummingbird's wing flap. Like,
is that the metric? Americans really will use anything other than the metric system, man.
1/4 of a hummingbird's wing flap, you know?
It's the thousandth of the lifespan of the average housefly. What is that in plank lengths? Can you tell me, please? Can you tell me, please, Wolf?
I don't know. I've been trying to think of all the speed-oriented things, but
how much does the uranium atom decay in the span? In the span of 0.007 seconds? Is it going to shed a neutrino? Who knows? Who knows, man? All right, well, MIRAENSEJONG up 2-0 in kind of an unexpected result so far here in item mode. Will Team Desperado be able to bring it back, or are the favorites going to close this one out with a 3-0 win on Graveyard Cemetery Circuit? God. When we go into like these incredibly deep time windows, like 0.007 seconds, it's basically no time at all. And so it's insane to me that Desperado, despite having that setup, by the way, I think there was like 14 different gears put into boost for that racer as well, which is massive here, even though we have the heroic tiers, because I think you only get like 22 or 24 in total. It's just insane that the magnet was so clutch. They were able to close it out in a moment like that one. Very exciting.
It was the James Bond magnet, 0.007. Secret Agent Guard. So 007. All right, he's got a new global nickname now.
Oh, 007.
He's in first place right now. He's leading the charge. This is, by the way, a 3-star track, so we will have some of those extra items here. He does have, he keeps picking up the scope, which can be useful, but it is arguably one of the least impactful items in pro play. It depends on when you get it. If you get it at the end, it can be huge, but
By the scope, you mean the radar? The
Yeah,
radar?
yeah.
I always
call it a scope for some reason, but it's a radar. The scanner.
Yeah, I imagine you have to like zoom in through a telescope to see which items they have floating above their head or something. But yeah,
It's a radar.
I feel like it's very rare actually getting the radar. I don't know if it's because people just cycle it out immediately to try and get something that's going to be more impactful than information. As you pointed out, it's not very useful in track number 1 or track number 2, but I feel like the proc gen on the radar is so low, in fact, on these 3-star tracks.
Yeah, I've only seen it a few times, actually. It's very rare, and, you know, oftentimes the shot calling is generally so good on the team, and you can generally expect what types of items are going to be there the first 2 laps. But we're getting to the final one now. Banana is going to get caught here and passed, and ooh, that's not what you want to see, falling into the pit there. And look at the setup here for MSJ. Promise has an EMP. That is not going to win you this race. You're going to need something stronger than that. Magnet setup here for Hojun as well.
Yeah, I'm looking at Hojun right now with that Magnet and the Nitrous, and he's in a prime position here in 3rd rank.
Ooh, denied an item? Oh, not nearly.
It doesn't matter, though. He has the Magnet and the Nitrous, and he's just actually going to go off of Hero, and then he's Nitrousing, but he gets body blocked a little bit there. Striker's going to come through with a boost as a result. And in fact, it will be Hojun coming in on the outside as MIRAENSEJONG, much to my surprise, is going to sweep item mode against the team the only team that has been undefeated in item mode so far here in sets.
And they're gonna turn that 100 to a 50, unfortunately, making it. They were 3-0, they're 3-3 now, so that reputation definitely going to change. But yeah, State. I mean, the combo they had, the lead that they had. You know, for a moment I got tripped up. I thought Hojun, because we swapped carts there, I thought Hojun had used the Magnet early and that I was wrong about him having it, but no, he had it there and he just crushed it at the end. And I mean, this looks like a pretty big improvement too for MSJ in terms of what we've seen from them in the items in the past. And we mentioned earlier they don't have an item ace and yet still dominated a team known for item play. And it's back to the drawing board, I think, a little bit here for Desperado because they had a pretty good strategy. You know, not feeling too good about this one. Banana, the item ace.
Yeah. I mean, track number 2,
that was
0.007 seconds. That's a really rough one, and it just felt like nothing really went their way. But for Team Desperado, this is absolutely not the end of the road. They're going to fall, I believe, behind Live Sandbox into 5th place, but that's still in playoff contention, and they've been looking really good, even though they got they got hosed today by MIRAENSEJONG. 3-0 in speed and 3-0 in item, but I'm liking Desperado's chances, man. I like them as kind of a dark horse here in the KDL regular season. It's been a lot of fun watching them play. But MIRAENSEJONG really living up to expectations, and you know, we keep talking about them not having an item ace, but also, Wolf, you got to think about this. If they end up winning this thing, you only got to split the prize 4 ways, not 5.
True.
That's some value for a team like this one.
This team reminds me in terms of just how good they are and how clean they are at everything they do. A lot of people associate top teams only with Guangdong, only with Live Sandbox. It kind of reminds me of Aura when they were making their kind of deep run.
Right.
Where you look at it and you go, okay, this team is a super team. They're big fan favorites, but do you expect them to win the whole tournament? Probably not yet. You know, I'm still leaning towards Guangdong. They're 4-0 so far this tournament. But the more I watch them, the more I think, well, maybe they're the team to break that streak. Maybe they're going to be the team to break the preseason streak and actually be a new face in the finals here in our 2023 KDL. They just might do it. They are now in 2nd place with a 3-1, tied with Sungnam Rocks in terms of that set score, but they are 5 rounds ahead. That's how much more dominant they've been.
Yeah, 5 rounds ahead, plus 12. That's even better than the undefeated Guangdong Freaks, by the way, which just absolutely blows my mind here for MIRAENSEJONG, as it really feels like the Freaks, MIRAENSEJONG, and Rocks are pretty much guaranteed a spot in the playoffs at this point. Of course, we're only a little bit more than halfway through the season, so don't want to project too much. But for me, looking at this right now, those are the 4 teams to beat. Down at the bottom of the ranks, Desperado, despite suffering a really bad loss here today. 0-6 in rounds is actually going to put them into a negative round differential overall on the season. I still like their chances. I think they played well. I could tell that Banana is not happy with that one, but he's also such a hardworking player that I know he's going to go back, he's going to watch the VOD, he's going to review the replays and be like, what can we do better next time? How do we improve this? How do we not get blown out in item mode again? Because really their winning formula, it seems, is to dominate in item mode, come out in ace, and then potentially win that one.
Yeah, and it's a strategy that can work, obviously. And for Banana, I mean, you mentioned him being a hardworking player. He has such a great reputation here in Korea. I think all of the players respect him. He's a very friendly guy. He's very funny as well. He's very popular in the West and the global scene. One of the most famous players, I would say, and one of the players that the global fans like to root for the most.
He's charismatic.
And he's charismatic, and you hate to see a guy like that, struggling after a loss like this. But that second track is definitely one that's going to stay in your mind.
Yeah, 007, man.
007.
James Bond victory. All right, guys, we're going to go to a short break. When we get back, it's going to be the solo match, round of 32, Group D. You don't want to miss it. We'll see you soon.